Kael'Rova stood solemnly before the Galactic Council in the heart of Zytherion, the gleaming capital of the Empire, orbiting a pulsating neutron star. The chamber, vast and echoing with the whispers of 100 alien species, fell silent as he began to speak. "Esteemed members of the Council," Kael'Rova's voice boomed, resonating off the crystalline walls. "I stand before you not just as a veteran of our wars but as a witness to the capabilities of a world you consider inconsequential, Earth." A murmur swept through the assembly. Many viewed Earth as a backward planet, its warriors primitive and unworthy of serious consideration. "Years ago, I led a covert mission to Earth. I saw their warriors in action, humans they call themselves. They are not like us. Not in body perhaps, but their spirit? It is unparalleled. They fight not just with weapons but with something more potent, their minds and hearts. I've seen them turn the tide of battle with nothing but sheer will and ingenuity." A counselor from the Zaltrax cluster scoffed. "Are we to believe that these humans, with their primitive technologies and divided nations, could pose a threat to our mighty empire?" Kael'Rova fixed his gaze on the counselor. "Yes, you should believe it because it's not their technology but their unpredictability and resilience that make them formidable. Ignore my warnings at your peril. If we engage them, they will fight not to conquer but to survive and protect their home. And that, I assure you, gives a warrior a different kind of strength." Another counselor, an elder from the sophisticated Viking species, leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "And what do you propose, Kael'Rova? That we abandon our expansion plans because of your fears?" "Not abandon, but approach with caution. Learn more, understand better, engage diplomatically," Kael'Rova suggested, his tone even but firm. The High Commander of the Council, a decorated warrior of the Thraix species like Kael'Rova, finally spoke, his voice deep and commanding. "Your experiences, Kael'Rova, are noted. But our empire expands, and Earth lies in a strategic position. We cannot let personal sentiment cloud our judgment. The invasion proceeds." Kael'Rova's heart sank as the council moved on to other matters. He knew that words alone would not sway the council's decision. As he exited the chamber, the weight of impending conflict bore down on him. He needed to find another way to protect both the Empire and Earth from what he foresaw as a disastrous confrontation. The news of the council's decision spread quickly throughout the Empire, and preparations for the invasion began at a feverish pace. Kael'Rova, meanwhile, planned his next move. He contacted an old friend and comrade, General Eris, who had served with him on many fronts. "Eris, I need your help." Kael'Rova's voice was urgent over the secure line. "What is it, old friend? You sound troubled," Eris responded, his voice filled with concern. "It's about the Earth invasion. The Council has dismissed my warnings. I fear what will happen if we proceed with this attack." Eris was silent for a moment. "You've always had a keen sense for these things, Kael'Rova. What do you propose?" "I'm thinking of going to Earth, warning them, helping them prepare. It goes against every oath I've taken, but I can't stand by and watch a slaughter." "That's treason, Kael'Rova. You'd be throwing away your honor, your legacy." "Honor?" Kael'Rova chuckled bitterly. "What honor is there in leading an unprovoked attack on a world that could be a potential ally? No, Eris, this is about preserving life, both theirs and ours. I believe this is the only way to prevent a full-scale war that either side will win." Eris sighed deeply. "This is madness, but you've never been one to shy away from what you believe is right. If you are set on this, you'll need more than just courage. You'll need a plan. I have one. But I need your help to execute it." Eris paused, then said, "You have it. What do you need?" Kael'Rova outlined his plan to travel to Earth incognito, using his extensive knowledge of Empire military tactics to aid Earth's defense. He knew the risks were immense, not just to his life but to his standing in the Empire. If he were caught, it would be seen as the ultimate betrayal. As he made his preparations, Kael'Rova felt the isolation of his decision. He was now an outsider in his own land, a traitor in the making. But he was also something else, a bridge between two worlds on the brink of war. He clung to the hope that his actions would someday be seen not as betrayal, but as the cornerstone of peace. The night before his departure, Kailrova stood looking out over the capital city, its lights a stark contrast to the dark thoughts that plagued him. He recorded a message, perhaps his last, explaining his actions. To those who will judge my choices, know this: I act not out of disregard for the Empire but out of a conviction that there is a better way than war. I go to Earth not to fight against my own people but to fight for a future where we see our reflections in each other, and not our shadows. With his plan set and his conscience clear, Kailrova left for Earth, uncertain of what awaited him but certain that he must try to change the course of the future, one brave step at a time. Kailrova's arrival on Earth was cloaked in secrecy, a world away from the glittering lights of Zytherion. He landed under the cover of darkness, on the outskirts of a dense forest, where the Earth's resistance had one of their covert bases. As he made his way through the undergrowth, the crisp earth air filled his lungs, mixing with the adrenaline that coursed through his veins. Upon reaching the base, Kailrova was immediately detained by wary human soldiers. They were rugged, their eyes reflecting a blend of suspicion and resilience. He was blindfolded and taken to an interrogation room where a woman's voice first challenged him. "Who are you and why have you come here?" she demanded. Her voice was stern yet carried a hint of curiosity. "I am Kailrova, a former general of the Thraic species and an advisor to the Galactic Council. I have come because your world is in grave danger, and I believe I can help you," he replied, his voice steady despite the uncertainty of his reception. There was a pause, and then the woman spoke again. "Why should we trust you? For all we know, you could be a spy or leading an advance attack." Kailrova understood their distrust. "I am neither. I have opposed the Council's decision to invade your planet. I believe there is a way to avoid unnecessary bloodshed between our peoples. I can provide you with intelligence on their tactics and strategies. All I ask is that you hear me out." After a tense moment, the blindfold was removed. The room was stark, illuminated by a single light that hung overhead. Across from him sat Captain Elena Maris, a well-regarded figure in Earth's resistance movement. Her gaze was piercing, measuring every word Kailrova spoke. "Start talking," she said. Kailrova outlined the Empire's planned strategies for the invasion, the formation of their fleets, expected landing zones, and their primary targets. As he spoke, Elena listened intently, her initial skepticism slowly giving way to a tactical curiosity. "If what you say is true, we can use this information to fortify our defenses and prepare countermeasures. But this could also be a setup. Why betray your own people?" Elena asked, her tone laced with a mix of hope and caution. "My people believe in honor and valor, qualities I see mirrored in your resistance. This invasion is driven by greed and a misjudgment of Earth's capabilities. I wish to prevent a war that will bring needless suffering to both our worlds," Kailrova explained. Elena nodded slowly, absorbing his words. "If we are to collaborate, you'll need to prove your loyalty. Actions speak louder than words, even from a former alien general." "Give me that chance," Kailrova urged, his determination clear. Over the next few days, Kailrova worked closely with Earth's military leaders, sharing insights and helping to train their troops in anti-Empire warfare. He was instrumental in reconfiguring Earth's defense systems to counter the specific technologies used by the Empire. Under his guidance, Earth's forces began to adapt, using guerrilla tactics and leveraging the terrain to their advantage. The bond of trust between Kailrova and the Earth resistance strengthened with each passing day. Together, they orchestrated a series of successful skirmishes that blunted the initial thrusts of the Empire's invasion forces. News of their unexpected victories spread quickly, boosting the morale of Earth's defenders and surprising the Galactic Empire. One evening, as Kailrova and Elena surveyed a newly established forward base, she asked him, "Kailrova, you've sacrificed so much. Do you ever regret your decision?" "Not for a moment," he replied, looking out over the bustling base, where humans and a few sympathetic aliens worked side by side. "Seeing what we've achieved here, the unity and strength, it reassures me that peace is the path worth fighting for." Their conversation was interrupted by an urgent communication. The main contingent of the Empire's fleet had begun its descent toward Earth's capital. The final battle was imminent. We need to move fast. Your knowledge has given us a fighting chance, but now it's up to us to make a stand, Elena said, her voice resolute. Kalerova nodded. I will stand with you, Elena. To the end. As the resistance mobilized, Kalerova took his place among Earth's defenders. He felt a profound connection to these warriors, bound not by species but by a shared commitment to defend their home. As they prepared for the coming onslaught, Kalerova felt the weight of history upon them, a history he was helping to write, a history where bravery and unity might just turn the tide of an interstellar war. The tension was palpable in the command center as Earth's forces braced for the decisive battle. Captain Elena Maris and Kalerova stood together, overseeing the preparation of their troops, the map of Earth laid out before them dotted with markers and trajectories of the incoming Empire fleets. Elena broke the silence, her voice carrying a mix of resolve and anticipation. All units are in position, Kale. Thanks to your intel, our defenses are the strongest they've ever been. It's now or never. Kalerova nodded, his eyes scanning the digital display showing the approaching ships. Remember, the Empire's commanders are experienced, but they rely heavily on their protocols. We've prepared for this. Your forces are ready, adaptable. It's your home ground, use that. The first reports of skirmishes came in, Earth's outer defenses engaging the vanguard of the Empire's fleet. Kalerova's strategies were being put to the test as Earth's fighters executed hit-and-run tactics, leveraging the atmospheric anomalies of Earth that he had advised them about. As the battle escalated, Kalerova continued to provide real-time tactical advice, adjusting Earth's defenses based on the movement of the Empire's troops. The guerrilla tactics were working, stalling the Empire's advance and inflicting unexpected losses. Elena received constant updates, her expression a mask of concentration. The northern sector is holding strong, but we've got reports of a breach in the southern quadrant. The Empire is adapting. Kalerova assessed the situation. Shift the reserve units to the south. Use the mountainous terrain for cover. Launch the drones to provide them cover fire. Roger that. Elena responded, issuing the commands with swift precision. The response was immediate, and the tide in the southern quadrant began to turn as Earth's forces, reinforced and rejuvenated, pushed back against the invaders. The battle raged on, hours turning into a relentless test of endurance and strategy. Kalerova, though weary, remained a pillar of support, his presence a calming force amid the chaos. The Earth's forces grew bolder under his guidance, their actions more confident. In the midst of the battle, Kalerova turned to Elena, urgency in his voice. The Empire's main fleet has yet to engage. They're waiting for us to exhaust our resources. We need to strike now, take them by surprise before they have the chance to regroup. Elena looked at him, determination set in her eyes. You have a plan? Yes, Kalerova affirmed. We use the EMP devices. Knock out their communications momentarily. While they're blind, we launch a full-scale counterattack. Hit them hard and fast, disrupt their formation. Elena nodded, immediately relaying the new plan. All units, prepare for Operation Silent Thunder. On my mark. The command was given, and the EMP devices were activated. A wave of silence followed, the digital displays flickering as the Empire's communications went dark. It was a gamble, but it paid off. Earth's forces, prepared for this moment, surged forward in a coordinated assault. The Empire, caught off guard, scrambled to respond. Their disciplined formations faltered, and Earth's fighters exploited every opening, their attacks precise and devastating. As the battle reached its climax, Kalerova stood beside Elena, watching the unfolding chaos. It's working, Elena. Keep pressing. They're on their heels. Elena, her face lit by the glow of the battle screens, allowed herself a brief smile. We wouldn't have made it this far without you, Kale. Whatever happens next, thank you. Don't thank me yet, Kalerova replied. We finished this together. The final hours of the battle were intense. Each report that came in was more hopeful than the last, Earth's forces slowly but surely gaining the upper hand. The Empire, realizing the futility of their position, began to retreat, their invasion thwarted. As the reality of victory began to dawn, the command center erupted into cheers and relieved laughter. Soldiers embraced, their faces marked with fatigue and joy. Kailrova and Elena looked on, their shared experience forging a bond that transcended worlds. With the immediate threat repelled, Kailrova addressed the gathered troops, his voice resonant and clear. Today, you have defended your home with valor and ingenuity. You've shown the galaxy that Earth is not a planet to be underestimated. But let this victory be the beginning of a new dialogue with the Empire. Let us seek peace, not further conflict. The troops listened, inspired by his words, their cheers a resounding affirmation of his call for peace. In the aftermath, as the cleanup and repairs began, Elena and Kailrova planned their next steps. They would extend an offer of peace to the Empire, proposing a treaty that would acknowledge Earth's sovereignty and the valor of its people. As they worked together, Elena turned to Kailrova, a thoughtful look on her face. You could go back, you know. Clear your name. Kailrova shook his head, his decision clear. My place is here now with you, with Earth. There's much to do, and I believe I can still help. Elena nodded, respecting his choice. Then let's get to work, General. We have a peace to broker and a planet to rebuild. Together they stepped out into the new dawn of Earth, the battle behind them, but a future of possibilities ahead. The aftermath of Earth's victorious defense against the Galactic Empire left the planet's forces weary but emboldened. Under the tattered banners of unity, they prepared for the possibility of renewed conflict. Yet peace was on the horizon, a delicate thread spun from the chaos of war. Captain Elena Maris and Kailrova knew the time was ripe to shift from warfare to diplomacy. Elena convened a meeting with Earth's top leaders and Kailrova in a secure location, a hidden bunker that had served as a command post during the conflict. The room was austere, filled with the gravity of their next steps. We've won a significant battle, but to secure lasting peace, we must now engage the Empire not on the battlefield but across the negotiation table. Elena began, her tone imbued with a mix of fatigue and determination. Kailrova, standing beside her, added, The Empire is reeling from their defeat, which gives us a unique advantage. I propose we initiate peace talks immediately. I can act as an intermediary, given my familiarity with both sides. The suggestion was met with mixed reactions. Some leaders were skeptical, bearing deep scars from the invasion. One of the generals, a grizzled veteran, voiced his concern. How can we trust them not to strike again? Their betrayal is still fresh. Kailrova responded. I understand your distrust. However, we have something they didn't expect, proof of our strength and their vulnerability. We can use this to broker a peace that acknowledges our sovereignty and guarantees security for our planet. Elena supported him. Kail's right. We have an opportunity to end this with diplomacy. The cost of continued conflict would be immense, potentially devastating. We must try. The leaders agreed, albeit cautiously, and drafted a proposal for a ceasefire and peace talks. Kailrova volunteered to deliver the message personally to the Empire's command ship, still in orbit around Earth, a neutral zone for this critical mission. As Kailrova prepared to leave, Elena pulled him aside. Be careful, Kail. We're trusting you with not just our proposal but the hope of our planet. Kailrova nodded solemnly. I won't fail you. Or Earth. Aboard the Empire's command ship, Kailrova was met with cold stares and open hostility. He was escorted to the main hall where the Empire's War Council convened. Standing before his former peers, he felt the weight of his betrayal but held his ground. The Earth seeks peace, Kailrova began, his voice echoing in the hall. You have seen their capability to defend and strike with a fierceness that surprised you. Let this be the foundation of respect, not enmity. We propose a ceasefire and peace talks to discuss terms that ensure mutual prosperity and security. The War Council whispered among themselves, their expressions a mixture of surprise and contemplation. The High Commander, who had ordered the invasion, finally spoke. You come before us as a traitor, yet you speak of peace and respect. Why should we trust your word? Kailrova replied. Because what I offer is not just words but a path to stability. The galaxy is vast enough for all of us to coexist. Continued aggression will only lead to more losses, more grief. Accepting this offer would not be a sign of weakness but of wisdom. The council deliberated for hours. Kailrova waited, understanding the tenuous thread on which peace hung. Finally, the High Commander addressed him. "We will consider your proposal. The ceasefire begins now, as we convene to discuss the terms of this peace." Returning to Earth, Kailrova brought news of the temporary ceasefire. Preparations for the peace talks began immediately, with Earth's leaders formulating strategies to ensure their terms were met. The world watched, hopeful and anxious. The day of the peace talks arrived. A neutral space station served as the venue, a symbolic gesture of the desire for neutrality and balance. Kailrova, Elena, and Earth's newly appointed diplomatic corps met with the Empire's representatives. The negotiations were tense, each side presenting their demands and defenses. Earth sought recognition of its sovereignty, a formal apology for the invasion, and guarantees of non-aggression. The Empire, humbled yet still proud, negotiated for trade concessions and an alliance against potential threats. After several rounds of discussions, concessions were made on both sides. The treaty was drafted, a historic document that promised a new era of peace and cooperation between Earth and the Galactic Empire. As the leaders signed the treaty, the room burst into applause, a sound that carried the relief and joy of countless hearts across the galaxy. Kailrova and Elena shared a look of triumph, their partnership having steered their worlds away from the brink of ruin. In the aftermath, as news of the treaty spread, celebrations erupted on Earth and tentative expressions of respect came from the Empire. Kailrova addressed a massive crowd on Earth, broadcasted across the galaxy. "Today, we begin a new chapter. Let this treaty be a testament to what we can achieve when we choose peace over war, dialogue over destruction." Elena stood by his side, her voice reinforcing his message. "We faced annihilation, yet we chose to fight for our future. Let's now work as diligently for peace as we did in war." The treaty not only secured peace but laid the groundwork for future cooperation in technology, trade, and defense, turning former foes into allies. Kailrova, once a general of the Empire, found his new role as a liaison, a bridge between two cultures that had learned to look past conflict toward a shared horizon. Together, Earth and the Galactic Empire moved forward, wary but hopeful, their past enmity slowly healing in the light of newfound respect and mutual goals. The ink on the peace treaty was barely dry when the real work began. Both Earth and the Galactic Empire faced the monumental task of transforming the fragile peace into a lasting alliance. Captain Elena Maris and Kailrova, now ambassadors of this newfound era, were pivotal in these efforts. Elena convened the first post-treaty meeting on Earth, bringing together leaders from both worlds. The setting was informal, designed to foster open dialogue and build trust. "Thank you all for being here today," she began, addressing the diverse group. "This meeting isn't just about policy but about understanding each other beyond the battlefield." Kailrova took the floor, his presence a bridge between the two cultures. "We have fought against each other, and now we must learn to work together. It's not merely an agreement on paper that we need but a mutual respect and cooperation that permeates through our civilizations." The discussion focused on several key areas: joint security measures, cultural exchanges, and economic partnerships. The leaders from the Empire were initially reserved, but as the talks progressed, they began to open up, sharing their perspectives and even their apprehensions. One of the Empire's delegates, General Varick, a veteran of the war, expressed his concerns. "Our people are wary of this alliance. They fear it's a surrender of our values, our strengths." Elena responded with empathy. "It's a fear not unfamiliar to us on Earth. But let us consider this not as surrender, but as an opportunity to enhance our strengths through diversity. What we can achieve together far outweighs what we could do alone." The meeting laid the groundwork for several initiatives. The first was a cultural exchange program, proposed by Kailrova. "We should start with art, music, and education. Let our people learn about each other's cultures directly." The idea was well received, leading to the establishment of an interstellar cultural festival, scheduled to rotate between Earth and various planets within the Empire. The festival would showcase music, art, film, and more, celebrating the rich diversity of each world. Additionally, joint security measures were discussed. Kailrova suggested, "A combined training program for our military forces could be beneficial. It would not only build trust but also allow us to share knowledge and strategies." General Varick, once skeptical, nodded in agreement. "I see the wisdom in this. Shared security protocols could indeed fortify our defenses collectively." As the talks neared their conclusion, the economic partnerships took center stage. Elena proposed the creation of a free trade zone between Earth and the Empire's central worlds. Economic growth can be a powerful catalyst for peace. By opening our markets to each other, we can build prosperity that benefits all our citizens. The economic discussions were the most complex, with debates over tariffs, regulations, and market access. However, the spirit of cooperation prevailed, and a preliminary agreement was reached to begin small, with a few pilot projects. As the meeting ended, the participants stood together, a group once divided by war, now united in the pursuit of peace. They signed a declaration to continue their collaboration, a symbol of their commitment to the treaty and each other. In the days that followed, Kailrova and Elena worked tirelessly to implement the initiatives discussed. The cultural festival was the first to take shape, with artists, musicians, and educators from both Earth and the Empire eager to participate. The event was a resounding success, drawing large crowds and media coverage across the galaxy, showcasing the potential of cultural diplomacy. The military training program also began, with mixed squads from Earth and the Empire training together, learning each other's tactics and forming bonds over shared challenges. The program helped to dispel myths and build respect among the troops, proving that former foes could become allies. The economic partnerships took longer to establish, but eventually led to increased trade and investment between Earth and the Empire. The pilot projects grew into more extensive agreements, creating jobs and wealth on both sides, further cementing the alliance. Years later, as peace and cooperation flourished, Elena and Kailrova stood together at a commemorative event, celebrating the anniversary of the treaty. "Look how far we've come," Elena said, her voice reflective. "Yes," Kailrova agreed, looking out over the crowd, where humans and aliens mingled freely. From adversaries to allies, from fear to friendship. It was not an easy journey, but it was worth every step. Their conversation was interrupted by applause as the festival's headlining artist took the stage, a symbol of the vibrant, diverse culture that had blossomed from the seeds of peace they had planted. As the music filled the air, blending human and alien harmonies, Elena and Kailrova shared a quiet moment of triumph. The galaxy was no longer a place of conflict but a community of varied yet united worlds. Their mission, born out of the turmoil of war, had led to a legacy of peace, a testament to the power of understanding, respect, and cooperation.